so vague.
Good evening, everyone. This is a meeting of the Chelsea Licensing Commission. Today is Thursday, April 10th, 2025. With me this evening are my fellow commissioners, Ennio Lopez, Mike McAteer, Emily Cherniak, myself, Marnie McAlpine, as well as our licensing clerk, Naomi Lebron, our Assistant City Solicitor Peter Christopher, and Sergeant Chung from the Chelsea Police Department. I also see Officer McLaughlin with us this evening from the Police Department. So thank you all for joining us this evening. I did want to very quickly thank my fellow commissioners for covering for me a couple of weeks ago and for opting to have me stay on as the chair for another year. My family was going through a very difficult time, so I appreciate you guys covering for me while we were doing that. Excited to do this for another year and help keep things moving in our city. So thank you for that. Next on the agenda, we do have several things. So before we get started, I do just want to make a couple of housekeeping notes. If you are coming and speaking before us this evening, please step fully up to the microphone, clearly state your name and reason before us. If there are multiple people speaking on a particular matter, we do ask that each person step to the microphone to speak. It helps not only us here up here, it also helps anyone that is watching this in the community, whether they're watching on Chelsea cable TV, on Facebook Live, or they're watching a future recording, they're able to understand all of the conversations that take place today. So I appreciate everyone doing that. We do have a few things on the agenda today, so we will try to keep it moving as quickly as possible. To start, communications from the licensing department.
The ABCC sent an advisory, which I sent to all the alcoholic beverage licensees. On January 8th, Governor Maura Healey signed an act further regulating the acceptance of certain types of identification to purchase alcohol, which changes the Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 34B. So as a result, beginning on April 8th, 2025, alcohol beverage licensees may rely on the following forms of issued identifications for proof of age. The new additions is valid driver's license issued by another state, and also a global entry card issued by the United States Customs and Border Protection. And I sent all these to the alcohol beverage licensees.
Thank you very much. Any other updates from the licensing department?
Nope, all done.
Perfect, thank you. Next on the agenda, we have a public hearing to consider a change of hours from Sunday to Saturday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., to Sunday to Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 a.m., on a beer and wine liquor license application for Rancho Las Papusas Incorporated, DBA Rancho Las Papusas at 36 2nd Street, Chelsea, Mass.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Madam Clerk, members of the Commission. This is Mark White on behalf of Rancho Las Pupusas, Inc. I'm here with the President of Rancho Las Pupusas, Inc., Gustavo Serna. This was a license that was transferred just about a year ago, I think 11 months ago. And at the time, there was a restriction put on the time up until 11 p.m. We were going to reconsider, I believe 6 months later. Here we are a year later. I believe that the establishment has been operated without incident, and we're here to see if we can get the hours extended.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Fellow commissioners, does anyone have any initial questions before I open it up to the police department for their take on things?
Yeah, I have a question. I know they were closed for a while. When did they start to open the business again? I know there was a restaurant without beers and alcohol, wine.
So this was a situation where the restaurant was closed for a period of time. There was a death in the family, and for a period of time there was a negotiation of the transfer between his stepdaughters because his wife had passed away, and I think that was really what caused the big delay with the business. It wasn't reopened until the license was transferred back to him.
Okay, how long was you guys are open now for full service?
La comida, o sea, lo sirves desde 11 hasta las...
Hasta las 12:30. Ahora de 11 a 11.
Yeah, right now the food service is 11 to 11.
And
¿Cuánto tiempo hace que está abierto Rancho Las Papusas? ¿Cuántos años?
Oh,
30, 40, 30 años más o menos.
30 years, more or less.
yeah, I know, but my question is, right, I know they were closed for a while. They were selling no beer and wine, and I didn't know why. At that time, I wasn't here. But it was just a restaurant. Now, my question is, when did they start again selling beer and wine?
So this particular one, if I remember correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, there used to be two similar businesses in town?
No, he owns.
Or used to own
He used
two.
to own two. One on Washington and the one on Second
And
Street.
then the one on Washington had
So the one on Second
closed,
Street.
And the one on Second Street
Had a beer and wine.
had beer and wine, and the name on the license was Gustavo's wife.
She passed
She
away.
passed away.
Okay, and
And
understood
so
that.
then the license kind of got tied up for a little bit in the estate. So it became who is the rightful transfer of that license, whether it would go to Gustavo or it would go to his wife's daughters. So there was a lot of back and forth that way, so things got postponed for a while. And then that all got settled last year?
That became a pocket license, so they lost out on it. And then 11 months ago,
Oh, 11 months.
he,
Oh, that was
he
my question.
transferred
Okay.
over the one from the Washington Ave.
Yeah.
It was transferred. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. I was just curious.
Yeah, it was definitely, it was a long process. There was a lot of back and forth on that one to get that settled.
Thank you.
But yeah, that makes sense. I remember the two places. Other questions to start from my fellow commissioners? No? Sergeant Chung, feedback from the police department?
Good evening, council. Good evening, Gustavo. Yes, a few things. Do you currently have security, Gustavo?
¿Tienes seguridad ahí? ¿Tienes un security?
Ahora no, porque cierro temprano. Pero voy a poner.
Doesn't have any right now because he closes early, but he will put security there.
Okay, the reason why I asked is because your location at 2nd Street is currently still in a very much so residential area. And as a result, when you close at 1, people congregating outside and loitering outside post-close time, that's not acceptable. So you have to have some sort of communication and being a good neighbor to your residents, to your neighbors alongside of that location, is to make sure people are dispersing.
Entendió. Entonces lo que dice es, mira, estás en un barrio todavía es que es muy residencial. Entonces si vas a estar abierto hasta la 1 de la tarde es muy importante para sus vecinos que usted pues tenga a alguien para ayudar que las personas se vayan, porque ¿qué pasa? Salen a la 1 de la tarde y se queda ahí en la esquina y eso es un problema para el barrio. Entonces es muy importante que usted tenga a alguien asegurando que la gente se va.
Antes siempre tenía, antes que estaba hasta la 1, porque antes yo tenía hasta la 1. Pero ahora no se necesita porque cierro a las 10:30.
Yes, he understands, and prior to this, when he was open until 1, they did do that, but now because they're open until just 11, they haven't, but he will be putting that back in place if the license is extended.
Okay, so as a reminder for security guards, they need to be in red shirts. This word security can be in English or Spanish, front and rear of the shirt.
Entiendes también que si tiene guardia de seguridad ahí, tiene que tener una camisa roja, una franela roja, y tiene que ser seguridad, o en inglés o en español, enfrente y atrás. Yes.
I also wanted to mention that an incident occurred on April 2nd where your establishment was a big help to us in regards to reviewing of cameras. So I didn't want to just throw a bunch of heat at you and not give you flowers and kudos where it matters. So just wanted to say thank you for that.
Y te quería agradecer por su colaboración en el incidente que pasó aquí en abril, que usted tenía, o sea, las cosas listas para ayudar con ellos en la investigación del evento, y te quería echar un poquito de flores sobre eso.
As a reminder, I do remember your business on Washington Ave, and I do remember the calls and the issues that occurred at that establishment. So I'm hoping that we are onto greener pastures with this current location.
Y ella se recuerda de lo que pasaba en el otro lugar, que había algunos incidentes ahí, pero espera que las cosas van mejor en este lugar. Yes, they will.
Thank you. Best of luck to you.
On that, I do also remember the Washington location from the license over there. And as somebody that lives in that area of the city, there was always people loitering outside of that restaurant that were fairly intoxicated. So I would hope we're not going to see that at the new location.
Ella también vive en el lugar cerca de donde estaba el otro, bueno, de las pupusas del chino, y ella se recuerda, en su época había gente afuera después de las horas y estaban un poquito intoxicados. Entonces ella espera que en el futuro, en este lugar, no vamos a tener los mismos problemas.
Okay. It is very important because that does break some of the rules of the city. I remember how bad it used to be at the other location. So very important to make sure that that is addressed
Entendió, muy
moving
importante.
forward.
I promise, keep nice and quiet.
We like that. We like that.
Commissioners, I did want to mention that a query check was reconducted, and it was clear at this time.
Thank you very much. Before I open this up to the public, do you have the certified return receipts for all the abutters?
I do.
If you can make sure that Naomi gets those today, that would
Of
be
course.
appreciated. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this matter? Seeing no one. The only thing that I would have as a concern, which I believe we've had as concerns for some of our other establishments in the community, is having a bar or restaurant open with a liquor license 7 days a week until 1 a.m. in a residential area. My concern is how much disturbance that may cause for the community. I believe what we've done for some of the others is we allow the 1 a.m. on like Friday and Saturday nights, but not necessarily all the other days of the week.
Because it's like, are they really eating, you know, like I know there's food technically, but it tends to be more of a bar.
Right.
That late, past like 11. And they're asking for every night?
Every night, 7 days a week until 1 a.m.
I think we usually do like Thursday, Friday. But like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday feels like excessive. I don't know. What do you guys think?
That's kind of what we usually do.
Yeah.
I think we did it with, I think La Cueva. I think we did Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that tends to be what we've done for the ones in the residential areas. Just as a courtesy to the people that live surrounding these bars and restaurants. So that way, on kind of your standard work nights, people aren't being disturbed and they're able to get the rest that they need without having to deal with that.
Yeah.
Because I do also see in that paperwork that the entertainment license on that establishment currently goes until 1 a.m. 7 days a week. So I would be hesitant to also grant a liquor license until 1 a.m. 7 days a week, because I feel like that could be an issue Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yeah, because 1 a.m. close is really 2 a.m. noise finally outside, dissipates, like it's a lot for a Monday night.
Thoughts?
I'm in agreement.
Yeah.
Would anybody like to make any sort of a motion?
Motion for 1 a.m. extended hours, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then regular close at 11, Sunday through Wednesday night, right?
Yep. Did you get that?
I will second that. I think it's fair because people work, the weekdays, especially Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Everybody gotta get up early in the mornings. So I agree with the days that she said.
Okay. So Emily made the motion for an extension of the hours Thursday, Friday, Saturday night until 1 a.m., Sunday through Wednesday night remaining at 11 p.m., and Ennio seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good luck. Thank you. Next on the agenda this evening, we have a public hearing to consider a Class II license application for Rivian LLC at 25 Griffin Way, Chelsea, Mass.
Good evening, Madam Chair. My name is Brian Rhee, here on behalf of Rivian, and hello, Commissioners as well.
Thank you for joining us this evening. Can you share with us a little bit about what your plans are and why you're before us this evening?
Yes, absolutely. So Rivian, we have currently have a service center not too far from here. We have a Class 1 dealer license at that location. To be clear, we're not selling vehicles from that location. I believe when we applied for that Class 1 dealer license, the purpose of that was simply for title and registration and for delivery of vehicles. We are not, since getting the Class 1 license just recently, Rivian has rolled out a Rivian pre-owned vehicle program where customers can purchase used vehicles online as well. And with this Class 2 license, we would like to extend that offering to people in Massachusetts as well. Again, there will not be any sales activity. We just simply want to be able to title and register used vehicles from our Chelsea location.
Okay. Questions from my fellow commissioners?
So these vehicles, you towing them into the bays? Can you drive them in now? I know there was a rule saying you couldn't drive them in the building. Has that
No,
changed?
they are currently being delivered from our location, so I believe they are being towed in.
Towed in?
Correct.
Other?
One more question.
Yes.
And what type of work are you going to be doing on these vehicles? Are they all going to be electric vehicles, every one of them?
Yes, absolutely. Only
Rivians?
Rivians. Only
And what are you going to be
Rivians.
doing besides, the maintenance that you were doing on the new ones?
Oh, we have no plans to sell or any
Right, but
non-Rivian vehicles.
what do you have to do to the license? What are you going to do to the cars that you didn't do before?
Oh, so essentially right now, we are simply delivering new vehicles, but with this license, we will be able to now deliver used Rivian vehicles from our Chelsea location. So no change to our current operations, except for be able to offer used Rivians to customers.
What about work on the vehicles? You doing anything to them?
No, just simply have the customer come in and pick up the vehicle. It already is a service center, so
Right. So
people.
what kind of service are you doing?
We do, warranty work, any sort of mechanical work, anything related to our Rivian vehicles, we service at our Chelsea Service Center.
So really what they're doing, just to make sure that we're all clear on this, is they already have the service center. They already have the Class 1 license, which permits them to sell the used vehicles. I'm sorry, which permits them to sell the new vehicles. So what they're looking to do now is to have the ability to sell used vehicles. So they're already a service center that has been approved and has a license. They already have the license for brand-new vehicles. This is merely a modification to add a secondary license for used vehicles.
Okay.
Other questions? No? Okay. Sergeant Chung, anything from the police department?
Nothing from the police department, very limited call logs. The only calls that we've been there are called in by the property themselves relative to damages to property and whatnot, so.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this matter? Seeing no one, would one of my fellow commissioners like to make a motion to approve the Class 2 license application for Rivian LLC at 25 Griffin Way, Chelsea, Mass?
I make a motion to approve, since they already have the license for new cars, so.
Perfect. And can I get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And good luck. Next on the agenda this evening, we have a public hearing to consider a change of officers, directors, LLC manager on an all-alcohol license application for Interstate Management Company, LLC, DBA, Town Place Suites by Marriott Chelsea at 30 Eastern Avenue, Chelsea, Mass.
Good evening. Yes, my name is Stefano Anamisis. I am the general manager at the Town Place Suites location, representing the company as we have change in officers.
Perfect. Thank you for coming before us. Initial questions from my fellow commissioners?
No.
Sergeant Chung, any questions or concerns from the police department?
What time does your service start?
Well, currently it's not open, so this is just more of a renewal of a license that we have, but we're not currently serving.
Oh, so you don't have like an hours of operation for service?
When it's open, it will be 5 to 11 o'clock.
Okay. I did a query check of all of the new officers that was in this paperwork. They all were clear. The one thing I did want to mention, and maybe this doesn't translate well or is understood by your front desk clerks, because you're not exactly like a liquor store or a bar and restaurant, that it becomes immediately apparent that you're still a licensed establishment. So as a result, I just want to remind your staff that if we go there for a call and if we're asking for their information, you're under ABCC rules, being a licensed establishment, to provide that. So as long as they understand that, that would be great. Other than that, we have had very small call logs there. The calls that came out from this location have been usually called in by the staff, so they are governing their location pretty well. Other than that, no other issues here.
Thank you, Sergeant. Kind of along the same lines as what she mentioned, just since you're before us today, just a reiteration of one of the big rules of having a license in our city is maintaining the video surveillance. So not only having the video camera system, but maintaining the footage for a rolling 30 days, and then providing it in a timely manner when the city or the police department requests that video surveillance. I say this because if you've paid any attention to any of our meetings for the last couple of years, it is one of the items that people fail to comply with the most and causes people to have to come before us for disciplinary hearings. So very important to make sure that your system is in working order, and if you have any issues with your system, to let our police department know and work to rectify that as quickly as possible. But I want to make sure that the hotel understands those rules and that everyone in the hotel needs to comply when our police department does come requesting that information. So I just like to address that when our licensees are in front of us. So moving forward, if there's an issue and you stand before us and you say, but I didn't know, we've had it verbally in addition to all the paperwork that the city provides that states that.
Understood.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this matter? Seeing no one. Any other questions, comments from my fellow commissioners? No? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the change in officers, directors, LLC, manager application for Interstate Management Company, LLC, DBA, Town Place Suites by Marriott Chelsea at 30 Eastern Ave?
I make a motion to approve.
And a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda this evening, we have a conference on the allegation of selling to an intoxicated person at Unity Beverages Incorporated, DBA Heller's Liquors at 429 Broadway, Chelsea, Mass.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Good evening, council members, and good evening, officers who every day make sure we are very safe. My name is Ike Asog. I am the manager of Heller's Liquors on 429 Broadway, Chelsea.
Perfect. Thank you for coming before us this evening. To start this item on the agenda off, I am going to refer to Sergeant Chung to share with us the concerns that the police department has brought to our attention.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ike. I wrote a summary, which I will read from.
Thank you.
I, Sergeant Chung, am requesting a conference for Heller's Liquors out of 429 Broadway due to the following summarized fact pattern below. On March 11, 2025, at approximately 1 p.m., I observed what appeared to be a sale of alcohol to intoxicated individuals by said establishment. Upon further investigation, including the pending review of requested security video submitted by owner identified as Ike on March 17th, for said day, I observed numerous licensing violations involving the sale of alcohol to another intoxicated party within a short time frame. An altercation that almost became physical between the same intoxicated party and a loiterer, and loiterers in the establishment not moved along or asked to leave. This intoxicated party was also observed to take a drink of alcohol while inside of the establishment. During this time, the establishment never called the police for assistance in the conduct occurring in their store and failed to keep order of the environment of their licensed establishment per the City of Chelsea rules and regulations in accordance with the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission. Additionally, from the video footages I have seen thus far, ID checks were not conducted by said clerk for not one single patron. During my conversation with Ike on this day, I was able to request that he sent me a manifest of all of his employees, in which he did so on March 13th, which showed a total of 6 clerks. An administrative inspection was then conducted at said location on April 8th, 2025, and additional violations were observed involving the manner of signage and posting of the licenses issued to the establishment. Owner also transparently stated that he did not have a copy of the rules and regulations available in the store. Without it being in the store, it could not be determined at this time if his employees are actually trained or have read the rules and regulation, as it is not readily available for them to review. There were also no price points identifiable on most of the alcohol in this said establishment. Officers also could not observe the hours of operation posted during our visit. I also inquired on the number of clerks he had, in which he stated he interchangeably utilizes them between both licensed establishment that he owns, which is Heller Liquors and Broadway Liquors. It should also be noted that the rear door to said establishment was locked and had been locked since 2013. It should be noted, though, that in 2013, the Licensing Commission then sanctioned a 14-day suspension against Hellers for various infractions and was able to get approval for the rear door to no longer be an entrance or an exit due to the constant trespassing and loiterers when Hellers still had their own bottle redemption area. Based on the summary above, the Chelsea PD would like to highlight the following violations observed. More may be determined upon the complete review of involved surveillance footage. Section 2.02, subsection A, availability of rules and regulations. Also, letter C, which is responsible for ensuring that all employees of the licensee read the rules and regulations of the commission and comply therewith. Section 2.03, posting and signs, subsection A, posted in a conspicuous place easily seen by the public where they can be read without difficulty. Section 2.04, subsection G, admissions to the premises. Licensee may refuse entrance to the premises to a person who appears to be intoxicated or unruly and may evict such a patron, except that in such a case, the licensee should call the police and should offer assistance to an intoxicated person when possible. Section 2.05, hours of operation not posted. Section 2.08, subsection B, subsection P, B says all licensees shall maintain a schedule of prices charged for all drinks. Subsection P shows alcoholic beverage licenses are forbidden to make a sale or delivery of alcoholic beverages or alcohol to a person who is intoxicated. Section 2.09, environs of licensed premises, subsection A, shall be the obligation of the licensee to ensure that a high degree of supervision is exercised over the conduct of the licensed establishment at all times. Each licensee will be held accountable for all violations. Subsection C, licensees shall act reasonably and diligently to disperse loiterers or patrons who attempt to congregate in front or at licensed premises. Subsection E, when any noise disturbance, misconduct, disorder, act or activity occurs in the licensed premises or in the parking lot or in the area in front or adjacent, which in the judgment of the commission adversely affects the protection, health, welfare, safety, or repose of the residents of the area, or results in the licensed premises becoming the focal point for police attention, the licensee may be held in violation of the license. Section 2.13, illegal activity on the licensed premises, subsection A, licensees shall make all reasonable and diligent efforts to ensure that illegal activities do not occur at the licensed premises. Such efforts may include, number 5 specifically, calling for police assistance as necessary to protect patrons against injury or to evict unruly patrons or to uncover unlawful conduct or to give medical assistance and providing police with requested information. Subsection H, licensee shall have operational video surveillance system. Video surveillance system that the owner provided me had skips in between. Some areas of video were shortened by 7 minutes, 2 to 7 minutes, and there were skips that did not provide a seamless video surveillance. In conclusion, with the interest of addressing quality of life issues, especially in the downtown area, when a licensed establishment fails to adhere to the rules and regulations, they no longer act as good neighbors, contributing to the success of our community, but they are adversely contributing to the perpetual conduct and issues that ultimately enables individuals who may be already battling with substance dependency medically. As a result, the Chelsea Police Department is recommending that the matter be moved to a disciplinary hearing where official incident reports will be submitted and presented, including the video evidence available to support the findings and allegations. As a note, these rules and regulations recited were paraphrased, as I know, in the interest of time.
Thank you, Sergeant. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Do you have anything that you would like to say on that, with the understanding that this is just a conference to bring this to our attention, and then we will decide today if this is moving to a disciplinary hearing?
Thank you, Madam Chair. To me, it looks like there are too many of them that I may not stand here to start itemizing. But one thing that is clear, and the few that I do remember, is on her demand, that's the Sergeant's demand. I'm here today with some of my clerks. The reason is so that we all are participatory to this hearing, and possibly if there are corrections that we need to make, we take it from this point. Two, just like she stated, about 2 or 3 or 4 days back, she had come in with another officer to check on compliance regulations. And she had noted a few things that she demanded of me to do, and I'm working assiduously and seriously to bring those things up to date. And third, regarding the exit door, 4 years back, I was before this honorable committee, and the instruction that was passed to me was, because of a lot of shady things that were happening with hairlines, that door must remain closed. And I've tried to keep that, not to go contrary to the instruction of this honorable committee. So when she came in, she was like, it has to be opened. And I'm glad we're here today so that you give me a definite instruction on what to do. And I will be in compliance with whatever you ask of me to do. Then I would say, because there are so many things she has pointed out, that if you ask anybody, I am more or less like an image on the block, because that is my living and livelihood. So I do not need to toy with it. So I come in, I live all the way back in Milton area. So once I come in, I don't leave until midnight. The essence of it is to make sure that I am supervising adequately as much as I can. And with regards to the video footage, these are motion censored camera. I did not go to clip off anything. So if she saw some videos that are inactive for 7 minutes, that means there is no live on that screen or that section. So I just want to make sure that she understands that whatever I submitted to her, despite the fact that she had given me a little space saving device, but I had to go spend about $50 to get enough space, and downloaded the 48 hours that she demanded of me to do, just to tell her or to tell the committee that we're not doing anything that is hidden. On numerous occasions, we have had to place calls to the police. We will not on purpose sell to any intoxicated person. But on this fateful day, I do remember, I had a trainee who had just been there for 2 or 3 days. And I had a doctor's appointment. I could not compromise my health over making money. So I excused to go to see my doctor. And that was when this incident happened. So the lady, she's here, had said to me when I asked her that there were 2 of them. I'm just stating what she said. She, because I've given her the training, that one was intoxicated, one was not. She sold to one. Then I corrected it. I said, if you see 2 people, even if one is okay, you don't. That's part of the training. And that's why I am persistently, constantly available. But one caveat I need to add, even though it's not an excuse, some of these things happened when the construction was going on. So they used those hidden cubicles. And I think that was at the point the officer saw them. As soon as they bought it, they went out, popped it open, and started drinking. And that caught her attention. So things outside my immediate environment, I don't think we have control over that. So, but regardless, whatever that she has pinpointed that I should do to be in total compliance, I'm more than willing to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. We do appreciate you taking this seriously. Given the number of infractions that the police department has brought to our attention, I do feel that this has to go to a disciplinary hearing, in which case we will review the footage, and we'll have formal incident logs to review. And then at that time, we can make any sort of rulings as to what you may or may not have been in violation of, and if there's any sort of discipline that has to come from what we find once we have that full presentation. A lot of these things are super important to make sure that you are always following these rules, and most of these items that were displayed today are listed in those rules and regulations. So in the meantime, make sure you keep working on the items that she's provided to you. So when you come before us for the disciplinary hearing, hopefully you've already corrected the bulk of the items, if not all of the items that have been brought to your attention. Regarding the exit door, without having time to do some research and find out what was discussed, I can't really speak to that today. We would have to go back and look at what was discussed the last time. If it had been discussed that it could be kept as a locked door and was no longer an entrance, you just need to make sure that there's no sort of signage that notes it as an entrance or an exit, to make sure that people aren't expecting that door to be unlocked. But all of that will have time to pull that information in advance of that disciplinary hearing. So I would like to ask if before I do that, is there anyone from the public that has anything to say on this matter at this time? Seeing no one. I would like to see if any of my fellow commissioners would be willing to make a motion to move this to a disciplinary hearing at our next meeting.
Madam Chair, may I ask a couple of questions before I step aside, or I allow you to finish your...
Certainly.
Okay. So my understanding is that we should keep the back door locked until you take a decision on that. Am I correct?
If that is a rule that you already had from the licensing department, yes.
Okay. The other question that is causing a little bit of confusion, and I need some clarity, because just to make you understand that I'm taking every observation seriously, I called ABCC yesterday in line with the recent mail on item 4, which says passport issued by the United States or government that is officially recognized by the United States. And the gentleman I spoke with over there told me that first and foremost, and I'm trying to quote as correctly as I remember, do not sell to anybody under 21. That is very obvious.
Yep.
Second and foremost, that the foreign passports that are current are recognizable by the United States. So I'm a little bit in the shade here, and I need, if possibly, so that I will be in total compliance as much as possible.
May I add to that?
Yes.
So interestingly, after we visited you, this info notice came out, and there's actually a link that shows foreign governments that are recognized by the United States. I have your email. I can forward you that link, so that way you'll know which foreign passports you can accept.
Okay, thank you. I will be more than glad to have that. Besides, the officer had given me a link to order at the cost of $20. So I'm working on that, just to tell you that I'm taking everything very seriously.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to move this to a disciplinary hearing at our meeting next month?
Motion.
And a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. So we will see you at our next meeting. Right? Timing still works? So that next meeting, just so you know, is going to be on May 8th. So we'll move this to a disciplinary hearing, and we'll run through things in more detail at that time and make any necessary decisions at that time.
Will I get notification on the venue point?
Yes.
Okay.
It is most likely right here.
Okay, thank you so
Okay.
much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have a continued public hearing on the adoption of the residential property management regulations for the new licensed property management license.
So, do you want me to go over it, or?
So my understanding is that our city council has just approved new rules for residential property management. So regardless of the size of the property that is being managed, whether it's something as small as 1 unit or as many as 200 units, everybody would fall underneath the requirement to have a property management license if they are managing a property owned by somebody else. And the licensing commission is going to be the ones overseeing the proper utilization of those licenses and ensuring that they are in compliance with our city's rules and regulations.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. There's only one thing that I didn't like in the rules and regulations for our commission that I wanted to point out, and it's in section 14.03, the procedure prior to the issuance of a license.
That's in the ordinance.
That's in the ordinance. So I don't like one of the words. So I understand that our licensing department can issue licenses without it having to come before the board. Makes sense. There's so many of them, that would just kind of happen. The part that I question, and I question it more so to ensure fairness in the future in our community, is the line where it says, the licensing commission has the authority in the discretion of the chair or by a vote of the board to summon the representatives of an applicant company before the board prior to the approval of a license. I don't think the chair themselves should be able to have somebody come before. I think it should have to be a vote of the commission, because I don't think the person who sits in this chair should have that ability to just decide that somebody.
Put something, well, the chair has the authority to put things on the agenda of the commission. That's the way it is. So one way or another, I guess from my perspective, I would say that would short circuit public open meeting law concerns that someone may have. So giving the chair the authority to do that prior to a meeting would allow you to say, or not say, put somebody on the agenda without having to go through everybody on the board. So instead of having a meeting to vote on whether or not we want to bring someone forward, the chair would have the authority to say, this is a situation where we would like to see someone come in front of us. Again, that's part of the city council's ordinance. So it's not a regulation that's before this board.
And who would notify the chair? Licensing.
Yeah, the idea would be is
Naomi?
that I think that they would be in close communication if there was a concern about somebody's application for whatever reason they might have. I don't think that we're going to see a lot of people have to come before you before they get the license.
Right.
I think that this commission's interaction with this ordinance is primarily going to be, someone is applying.
I could think of two. That yeah, you probably would want to bring up.
Well, I could see that the bulk of the time this is going to be a disciplinary matter.
Right, but so everybody gets the license, applies the license right around the same time. There's two of them probably you'd want to look at even before, I think. I'm not the chair, but I'm thinking someone's going to tell you, let's look at these people before we even get them in there.
Do you guys understand my concern of that
Yeah,
phrasing?
it's a lot of work for you. It's a lot
Well,
of
no, not that it's a lot of
responsibility
work for me. My concern is if I'm not sitting in this chair, I worry that it gives somebody the opportunity to unfairly call somebody.
Sure, but that's every commission, council.
Yeah,
But I don't think,
Like, you nominate yourself to be chair, and you vote to be chair by the board. So like, there's checks and balances,
That's really my
get
only
it,
concern is
but, like-
looking to the future.
but then we
yeah.
could vote you out as chair.
yeah.
So it's not, you're not like a authoritarian, you can be voted out.
Well, even today, you have control of, the chair has the control of the agenda.
Yeah.
Every board does that. So theoretically, before every licensing commission, the chair would say, these are the items that are on the agenda. And Naomi gives the paperwork or whatever and says, these are the applications we have. You know,
I mean, if you don't want a board chair and just everyone's the same, that's like a different.
and I wouldn't think it would be you doing it. I would think that either the law department, licensing department, or ISD would contact you before. It's not like you just pick someone randomly. Someone would
Well,
notify you this is a person.
That's my concern, is that it
You would never know.
theoretically would give someone the ability to do that, which is what I don't want to ever be the case.
I don't think you would.
That's just like, I don't think it's.
it's the same as,
the same
you know, like with if you just took what today's agenda was. You know, we had a referral from the police department about an issue, and it was put on the agenda. I don't know what the interactions between you and Naomi are, but you have to say, okay, that's something I want to put on for a conference. It's the commission that then moves for whatever the subsequent actions are.
Which is fine, that's not the way our agenda has been built during my time here. But
We could have
No,
appointed a
and I
different
don't-
body.
I don't
But
know
that's
that-
where
yeah,
the-
I don't know that you do have that authority. What, you know, right now,
Whether use it
you
or
could,
not.
yeah, you could, you know, say, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to have these people come before us. You're the chair. That's it's within your prerogative to do that. Yeah, I guess in good faith, we say, you know.
yeah, I mean,
we put a lot
I guess
of-
you have to hope that
yeah,
whoever
we put a lot of faith in Naomi
sits in
and
the
the
seat
staff.
is,
Yeah.
Well, there's an appointment process for who gets on it, you know what I mean? So there's lots of checks and balances around it, like, I mean, by this point, if that's the way views, then you can't listen. I mean, I agree, it's just a chair rule in general. Whether it's nonprofit.
that was my only question in the documentation. I do feel that it is something that's needed in the community. I do think we have some properties that are not being managed properly, and that's not fair to the residents. So putting some checks and balances in place to help protect the community, I think is a good thing. So do we have to make any sort of
You have to adopt them?
Yeah, so it was raised for a public hearing in the last meeting, continued to this meeting. So you can pass, deny, or
Yep.
amend however you see fit.
Any other questions, comments from my fellow commissioners? Can I get a motion to adopt the residential property management regulation? Actually, before I do that, Sergeant Chung, anything from the police department?
I guess ultimately we should probably meet to kind of sort out if there were any issues or calls. Would it be the same manner of bringing it to the commission's attention? Or would it go through ISD first and then ISD would do the present it to the commissions? So that's kind of just.
I think your department, fire department, my department, I mean.
Any of the above?
I think any of the above, there's a lot of departments that could, raise an issue and get it in front of the licensing board.
And then like anything else, under licensing, obviously the camera requirements falls under just the licensed establishment that serves alcohol. But I remember last month, we were discussing that may be, if it turns into from conference to disciplinary hearing, that could be one of the stipulations introduced.
To one person or one property, but not everywhere, right?
Right. exactly. Just like that problem property or
Sure.
whatever the case may be.
Right.
Like a previous situation
Like
on
what we did
Congress Ave.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Okay, just wanted to confirm. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
To make this clear, if we approve this, who's going to be in charge to follow with all these managements that are, for example, there's one that has a violation complaints from the tenants, who will follow that? ISD, fire department, police?
Nothing changes. They're all going to follow. The only thing is, now there's some teeth. If like you say, there's a fire violation contacts the licensing department, they get in front of us, we can take their license away. There'll be a
Yeah, they
license.
can lose their license to manage properties, which is a big deal.
So when they do the license, they won't be able to manage that specific, okay.
And then if they do manage it, we can fine the owner for hiring someone who's not licensed.
Definitely gives a few more layers to be
A little
able
bit
to
more teeth, yeah.
enforce the violations. Because I mean, just based upon what I see being out in the community and then what you hear from neighbors, we do have a few locations that are regularly commented on with companies not actually taking care of their property.
And some of them are good building owners, but they just have bad property managers.
Which hopefully in this case, then they'll have to get, they'll have to get a new property manager. Because if we take away the right for the individuals that are not in compliance to be in the city, then I think that fixes that.
This is great. I'm a big fan. People have a right to live, like, in a good place.
So if we vote tonight to approve this,
Was there anyone from the public that wanted to speak on this matter? Seeing no one. Can I have a motion to adopt the residential property management regulations for the new licensed property management licensees?
I make a motion to adopt.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving right along, number 6 on the agenda, an approval of our 2025 completed petroleum licenses. So just to confirm, these next 3 items on the agenda are just the standard annual renewals? Okay. So these next 3 items, if my fellow commissioners are all in favor, we can vote on as a group. Does that work for the 3 of you?
Yes.
Okay. So can I get a motion to approve the 2025 completed annual renewals for the petroleum licenses, garage and parking lot licenses, and Old Gold and pawnbroker licenses?
I make a motion to approve.
And a second?
I second.
Perfect.
Second.
Thank you very much. Is there anything else that anyone would like to bring to our attention this evening?
The police department would.
Certainly, Sergeant, go ahead.
This is on behalf of Chief Houghton. We wanted to address the topic of constables, since they fall under licensing, and with the Massachusetts Post Commission, which is the peace officer standards and training, change the playing field a little bit for constables, what they're able to do, what they're not able to do, requiring a police academy, et cetera, and so on and so forth. I'll show you the literature. But what the chief is looking to do is, once their query gets cleared, is to highlight and notate somewhere officially that they're only allowed to serve civil process only, and other stipulations that the chief wanted to add. This was in conversation via email last month or so, but it never made it to table. So we're looking to discuss this further in regards to the roles of the constables and our responsibilities separate from constables and the way we govern them.
Thank you. Can I get a motion from my fellow commissioners to move that to a public hearing at our next meeting? And a second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you.
Is there anything else this evening? Seeing no one, our next meeting will take place on May 8th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Meeting adjourned.